What, Seth? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're sleepwalking. You almost tried to kill me, man.
Was I?
Look at your hand. You got a match in your hand. You're about to fucking burn me to death.
Oh shit. I'm sorry. I wouldn't have never in my life burned you.
Yeah.
I swear to God. He's too much of a good friend. I would have never done
Is there
that.
something mentally wrong in your family? You know, is it hereditary?
Maybe it's the movie we watched. Oh,
Freaky ass movie.
Welcome everybody to a brand new movie review where we talk about Hereditary and
No, the car smells like smoke, so.
And you know, when we saw the trailers for this movie specifically, I thought to myself, I said, okay, that's a very weird, interesting trailer, and it kept on saying like these quotes of like, it's the scariest thing since The Exorcist, and it's like, you know, all this stuff.
Whoa, The Exorcist, come on, that's like one of the top favorites of all time.
Well, yeah, that's why I was like, okay, how is this movie going to be? Is this movie going to stack up to certain things? I mean, where do you want to start with Hereditary?
Well, I mean, you could say, I never got a chance to see the movie myself. I know it's probably on Netflix or somewhere, you know. It's like that movie, The Witch. I never got to see it.
I did get to see The Witch, and The Witch is actually pretty good. It's a slow burn, but I think there's a really great payoff to it.
Similarities with this film, at least a little bit in terms of scaring and all that?
Yes, I mean, similarities in the idea that The Witch takes place way back in the day, like I think the 1800s. Salem stuff like that, whereas this, it takes place in modern day, so there is that difference to it. But basically, this movie is about a family, and the mother of the family, her mother dies, passes away, the grandmother, and then sort of stuff happens from there, just sort of like, you know, weird.
At first it's stuff. Like very slow, small stuff, then it starts to build.
Yes, and it starts to build slowly but surely, and I mean, there's possible ideas of Satanism and ghosts and spirits and possessions, and
in a lot of ways it's kind of similar to the Paranormal Activity films. At least in terms of, for the back, you know, for the demons and stuff, that type of stuff.
I mean, man, it's just kind of, what's interesting about it is that it's definitely a slow burn. This movie is a slow burn. So if you guys are not like fans of slow burn horror movies, this would definitely not be for you guys.
The first 2 minutes somebody gets killed on screen.
Yeah, that's not this movie, but man, I mean, it's very interesting, and I will say this much, as far as the acting is concerned, man, I really liked the acting here. I thought it was really great.
I think the only one I thought could have had at least a tiny bit more fleshing out in this film was, because you get Toni Collette, Gabriel Byrne,
Alex Wolff, who played the teenage kid.
Yeah, and other than that, I don't really know.
I don't really know the little girl's name.
The one plays Joni. I've seen that actress before.
Yeah, I've seen her.
I just don't remember her name.
I don't remember her name offhand.
I mean, the acting in this movie is pretty good. You know, there's a lot of scenes where it's like, oh, you could see that some characters are detached, but that's because of the parental reasons, and
they have to slowly lose their minds, and
they don't know if it's at first all the mental or what the hell.
Well, because the mother, played by Toni Collette, she basically she sleepwalks, right? Mm-hmm. And she sleepwalks for years, and she's done harm to herself and harm to her family because of it.
Killed her kids,
and basically, when all this crazy weird things are going on, you're thinking, wow, is it either her sleepwalking or is this really going on?
Yeah.
And the family doesn't know. They just think she's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meanwhile, all these weird people start showing up in her life and everything like that.
And she gets more tragedy in her life.
And more tragedy. And I will say this, because Toni Collette, I think, did an amazing job. I mean, she has to, like, pull the weight of this film majorly. I mean, she had to play scared and frightened and confident, and she
trying to make sure she's not insane or anything.
Not insane, and, you know, curious, and she's, all the emotions, and man, she really goes through the gamut of it.
I mean, there was that one big scene during the dinner scene where she's arguing with her son, and she's just like, they're going all kinds of blows out there for
He just unload. And I mean, that's the type of acting I really liked a lot. And like I said, and Gabriel Byrne, man, I don't remember last time I saw Gabriel Byrne in a movie, but
I mean, he did play Satan in one movie,
and he played priest, I believe, in Stigmata.
Yeah.
So he's kind of run the gamut.
He's been on both sides.
He's been on both sides. He's run the gamut.
You know what I thought was one of the creepiest parts in this movie?
What?
Was, you know, because of the mother's job where she makes those little figures and stuff.
Yes.
I was like, that's kind of creepy when you think about it, especially with all this weird shit going on.
Yeah, and did you notice something? Because I noticed it. Like, the house and everything, it almost looked like a dollhouse type of thing. Like, the whole thing looked like it was a miniature dollhouse in itself.
I mean...
It was like very creepiness, I thought.
I mean, there was parts later in the movie where she's making events through her little dolls and stuff. I'm like, doesn't that creep you out a little? I mean, you're making something that just happened to you tragically.
Yes, because there's moments like, okay, like for instance, like the funeral, she does miniatures of the funeral. Like when something happens in the family life, she puts it in like that form, and it's like
she's like, oh, this is a neutral view. I'm like, you're not gonna know it's gonna affect the other members of the family. I mean,
yeah, I mean that's craziness.
There's even a part where she's having a dream sequence where she's telling her son, it's like, I don't love you. I never wanted you.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa,
like, holy shit, they're going there.
Shit. I will say this, as far as the plot is concerned, we kind of touched on the bare minimums of it, but I will say this, there's a point where I thought I knew where it was going, and then a quarter of the way into the movie,
I went 180.
Somebody dies, and the person who dies, I was not expecting that.
It kind of shocked everybody in the audience.
Yes. I was like, oh,
that and the way the person went out, I'm like, holy fuck, I was not expecting that, man.
The way, like, they do not shy away from the blood or the brutality of death. They do not do it.
Here's the thing I don't get. Because of what happened and who was partially responsible for the accident.
Yes.
How did he not get brought up, or that person did not get brought up on any charges at all? I mean, I understand it was an accident, but still.
That's a good point, because he was under the influence of weed. He
was I think he was drinking a little.
I think he was drinking a little. Yeah.
Taking a minor to a party.
To a party where he knew he was going to a party. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know how he didn't get charged, but...
Well, then, like, you're going to do a response, if you're going to take a sibling to a party, and they're, like, allergies or something, make sure that the food doesn't have anything that would cause any allergies. I'm like...
Yeah, it's... Oh, my God.
All I cared about was token up. I mean...
Yeah, token up and getting with some chick. I mean, I will say this, like I said, when that death happens... I thought at that point, I thought it was going to be, it's like a cultish thing. That's what I thought. And there still is some of that. There definitely is. But then it turns. And it turns into ghosts and paranormal and...
Yeah, it's going all over the place.
And Satanism, and it was a swirling. And... I gotta tell you, when a lot of these horror movies, what happens is that, you get that really slow build, and then you get to, like, the whole, like, ending, where it's this big, like, what the fuck is going on kind of thing. You're like, holy shit. And then there's naked people, there's headless people, there's people who are getting caught on shrine. People are getting caught on fire, and it's just a whole melee of craziness.
Like an Evil Dead type vibe.
I'm like, whoa. I mean, I mean, what did you? I mean, when you were watching the film, did you think to yourself oh, like, did you know where it was going, or were you like not sure?
I had some twists and turns. I had, like, once that one person got taken out, I'm like, why is this? You figure after, I thought it was going to be like circled around that person, but
yeah.
And they was just like, oh, it's not about that person, it's about the other person.
I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Not only that, right, but like when I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking to myself, you know, it's a little more slower than I was expecting, but I want to know where the payoff happens. And trust me, the payoff I think is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
The payoff is definitely in the vein of The Witch, where it ends and it's definitive, but you still have questions.
Yeah, this one doesn't really give you that toward the end, because you've kind of figured out what the main goal was in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, where did they go from here?
Where did they go from here? Is it like sort of the Omen thing of like, oh, you know, we have now this sort of one of the people from hell, and now we're
like one of the princes of hell, or like
princes of hell, and now with the princes of hell, now we can sort of build our empire or our something.
I was like, if you're gonna do anything, just do like Satan or something, because when you do like one of these like lower, or you know, like what, like a lieutenant or whatever, I'm like, what are they gonna do now? Like start summoning the others, or
I don't know. I mean,
jumpstart the apocalypse.
You know, and again, like I said, I didn't know at times where this was going, because at parts I thought, oh, they're gonna kill the teenager. That's what I thought. Then that changed, and I was like, what?
And I thought like there was the part where she's about to do like a sacrifice thing in order to stop what's happening. I'm like,
yes.
It's like, oh, she gone. I'm like, then they flip it onto somebody else. I'm like, what the hell?
Damn. Okay. Like, I mean, it was like somebody getting possessed, and then another person getting possessed, and then somebody getting taken over, and somebody dying, and like damn.
I mean, I could say one of the best parts is the freaky scares, like when you see something in the dark and you see some kind of figure there, and then you like look away, and then you turn back and you hear a noise coming around from somewhere. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I know that shit freaks me out.
That freaks me out all day, because you know what? It's just I don't know. Sometimes you're in the dark and maybe you see something that
you like in the corner of your eye, like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, what the fuck? Like you do that. It's that kind of unsettledness that you get in this film, and I actually thought the scares were actually really effective, because you know, a problem that I have with horror movies, and I don't know if you have this problem too, is that they do these sort of like loud scares.
Yeah.
Like they do like, bah, like it scares
I think
you.
the more freaky psychological scares are probably the best ones right now.
For me, those are the ones that are the most effective, and this had those. And I thought that was the real effectiveness in here. I thought that was really great. Not only that, but it reminded me of a lot of old school ones back in the day, whether we're talking about The Omen, or whether we're talking about even like something like a Rosemary's Baby, or
Exorcist,
The Exorcist, The Exorcist, stuff like that, where you're just like you're unsettled and you don't know what's going on, and even at the end of the movie, you kind of get a grasp of it, but you're still like, man, this just there's so
much like a giant question mark on your face. I'm like, what?
Like exactly. Like there's so much to unpack here, and yet you're still unsettled, because you're like, these cultish Satanist fucks, they're out there, man. They're somewhere, dude. I don't know where the fuck they are.
Your next sacrifice. Yes and no, but I am one.
Holy shit.
If I were gonna sacrifice him, it wouldn't be so quick for him.
It would take a while. It would be...
You remember that movie? Remember the movie The Red Sparrow with the peeler?
Oh my God. Jesus, you're brutal.
Who wants some kosher meat?
Oh my God. No, but look, I mean, I guess let me ask you this: where were your expectations, and where did you fall?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, these types of films nowadays are not easy to do. You know, try to keep it scary yet entertaining enough to keep you interested in it. I mean, when I first saw this movie, I'm like, oh, this can be like one of those quick jump scare movies. And
yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, like we said, it's hard to do those kinds of films nowadays. I mean, I think this one did it pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is really slow, so you might be sort of, and the thing is, the movie is over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So that sometimes I will say this, it does feel its length.
Yeah.
It does feel its length at times, and I mean,
there's only like one mystery that I could probably ask about this film is like, they had a dog in this film. Where'd the dog go? He like disappeared.
When you're Satanist, you don't got time for dogs, man.
Did they turn him into ground beef? You know, the food for their new master. I mean.
Oh, geez, that's a really brutal thing to say.
I mean, you see a part where the kid's freaking out and the fucking door slams and you hear a yelp from the dog. I'm like, dog? Killed the dog? I mean, they got insects in the living room and insects in the bedroom. I'm like, I'm sorry to say, but that would be one of the creepier things to happen. You wake up and you got insects crawling.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, where the fuck are they coming from?
Man, it is really unsettling. And I will say this much, this movie is directed by Ari Aster, and this is his directorial debut. His big theatrical one. And okay, dude, like we're off and running. Like I'm like, okay,
that's two for one day for us. So.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like I would check out what this guy does next. I really would. If they're as interesting as this movie, I'll certainly watch it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what are your final thoughts and grade rating on Hereditary?
Well, we pretty much covered all the points that I was going to say, but the only thing I thought was kind of negative was like, you got such a big actor with Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah.
I thought he would have got fleshed out a tiny bit more.
Well, what I thought about Gabriel Byrne, and this is just me, I thought he was more of like trying to be the family member that was holding everything up.
Yeah.
Like he was the person that was trying to keep it all together. And when things are just falling apart, he's trying to just hold it by a thread.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't really work that way. But that's kind of how I thought of it.
I mean, this movie had a decent number of jump scares. Even I kind of jolted out of the seat for a minute for one of them. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, there was a moment, yeah.
I mean, he probably heard it. He was only like a seat away from me.
Yeah.
So. But I thought the creepiest part is when you keep hearing from the commercial, you see the little girl, the teenage girl, do the clucking sound. I'm like, that's freaky as shit. I'm like, imagine hearing that in the middle of the night in your apartment when you're trying to sleep.
I'd be calling my landlord. I'd be calling my landlord.
Don't you know he's in on it?
Jesus Christ.
But, this was a decent movie. I mean, would I say it's one of the greatest? No. I mean, I have to say anything was the greatest would be with the stuff back in the day, like back in the 80s. But this was still a decent movie to watch. I mean, I probably have to give it a solid B.
Solid B, that's still a good one. You know what? Look, I didn't know what to expect with this movie. I thought the trailers were interesting, and I saw those quotes, and I was like, okay, it's worth it to at least see how this stacks up to the other ones. As you said, it's not like those. I think those ones are better, whether we're talking about The Omen, Exorcist, Poltergeist, Rosemary Baby.
Legendary.
They're legendary. Can this movie be that at some point? Who knows? Time will tell, how this movie fares with audiences and over time. But I do think it's really effective. A slow burn horror movie, but I don't mind slow burns.
As long as it has a good payout.
As long as it has a good payout or payoff, and that you're intrigued while you're watching it. And this definitely had it. So for me, it is gonna be a solid B as well. So yeah, I was definitely interested in that, and hopefully, if this movie proves anything, that maybe we ought to become Satanists.
He says I'm not. I did work at Walmart for 11 years.
Well, if that's all it takes, okay.
Okay. You work at Wegmans, so I'm surprised it's not that far off.
Oh, Jesus. Well, then we're well on our way, guys.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
I need a piss poor Satanist.
This is true. Alright, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. And let us know what you think of the movie and of movies like this. We would love to know what you guys think. And we will be back next time for a brand new movie review. God, you creep me the fuck out. Later, guys.